guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to sort of briefly discuss with you my feelings on the current situation with the conflict. And for all of you who might be not basically watching or following the news all the time, UK now decided to supply the depleted uranium weapons to the Ukraine to support basically the war in Ukraine. For some of you who might not be aware, the depleted uranium is basically a byproduct of a production of nuclear weapons, and it does carry a degree of radioactive materials. They used to use this in many of the previous conflicts, and especially one in Yugoslavia, and the detrimental effect that caused on the people in the areas literally for generations afterwards. There was many interviews I've seen on the channels with the people that their families actually had children literally many years after, and all been born with defects and disabilities. And I just can't help but wonder, guys, what, as a country, what on earth is Rishi doing sending these weapons to the country? They clearly don't give a crap about the people there, nor do they clearly really give a crap about people here. I feel as if you think, we're basically fueling the fire, we're fueling this, and I just can't feel but just trying to envisage what detrimental effect is actually going to have on ourselves as a nation. Because we know the guys, all the politicians, all the people, they have their bunkers, they have somewhere to hide, and they have tons of food. And poor us as a people, we have nowhere to go. So they're doing this without actually any thought, as I mentioned, any thought for people in Ukraine, the innocent people that are going to potentially get hurt, and if you wish, by the radioactive materials, or people like us, because obviously we're opening ourselves up. I, again, for one second, just don't understand why we would spend all our resources, or a lot of our resources, and send so much weapons there, and it just opens us up as a country. Because if you think, many other countries as well sending a lot of resources, a lot of weapons, tanks, whatever they're saying there, but it leaves us open. So, for example, we're fueling the fire, and then, for God forbid, if Russians decide to, take a revenge on us, we're like first ones in line, but we'll have nothing. We probably will have nothing left by the time, no weapons, nothing left to actually protect ourselves. And again, who is going to help the UK? Because a lot of countries, like I said, also sent a lot of weapons there, so probably not a lot of people are going to be trying to help the UK. I don't think so. And also, guys, for people that think, and I know many of you probably still do, think that, oh my God, but the government, they won't let it happen to us. They'll do whatever they need to do to help us. For one second, don't think that. The government doesn't give a crap. They don't give a crap about you as people, the people living in the UK, nor do they give a crap about UKs in general. Because, as I said, many people can migrate. They have bunkers probably all over the bloody world anyway. So they don't care. And it's nobody going to help us unless we're going to help ourselves. And I don't understand, again, why we as a nation not able to uprise like they do currently in France. There's millions of people there protesting, yet we as a nation, we're just here. We're not really doing anything. Things are happening. They're spending a lot of money, that obviously hard-earned money. People in this country can't afford to eat or heat their homes. Yet again, we're spending tons and tons of money on potentially unnecessary things. And yet people are just sitting there and taking it. And unless this is going to change, guys, things are only going to get worse. So it's just literally scary to think what potentially going to happen. And at the same time, funnily that, I did the video the other day about the new system, the new alarm system with, the ones the government brought out. So they're going to ring the alarm as a notification of any emergency situation. And it's kind of just funny that this has kind of happened just now. And then say the week later, we're going to send tons of the weapons to Ukraine. Again, it makes you wonder what they have basically planned. So anyway, you kind of got the picture. I don't want to get into the kind of the serious debate. It's not, it's not a news channel, but I just wanted to point out to you guys, and again, for people that think that you're going to get help from government, you won't. So it is your kind of responsibility to basically making sure that, to some extent, to what we can basically foresee and what we can do to make sure that your family can eat and are kind of basically safe and secure as far as we can do. Anyway, my thoughts with that was that I am going to change my prepping situation to slightly different direction, if that makes sense. At the moment, as a preppers, we all have pantries or kitchen cupboards or whatever else. So I've got the kitchen, I've got my stuff here, and I have my imminent sort of 3-month supply of the food ready in the cupboard to go. So if I'm running out of something, I go to the cupboard. All my other stuff, the preps, are kind of stacked up nicely, tidily in the different places. However, it makes me wonder, is one of you also actually pointed out that if we do need to get out of the house, well, you can't take your food with you. we can. First of all, we're lucky enough we have a van, so we can load up the van with the food and basically go somewhere. Again, it has to be kind of a specific situation where you might have to leave the house. Like I said, I'm not into the bugging out whole situation, because it's not really a lot of places for us to bug out. And if we all have to go, or the village have to go, especially you all kind of go to the same area, because of course it depends where you live. Some people might not actually able to escape anyway, because you literally have nowhere to go. Because we live in a rural area and we do have the van, my thoughts are, I'm going to start creating the boxes of my preps. Is basically get flock out of the dodge kind of situation. So if we do have to go, I can just grab our boxes of food, clothing, whatever we have, dump this in a van, and we can just go. And again, the situation we're talking about, we're not talking about escaping nuclear, because there's no escape from that. Do you know what I mean? It's pointless. And I always will stay in the favor of bugging in, staying home and protecting home. However, if we're talking about any other sort of conflict where, say, the house gets damaged to the point where potentially might not be safe to stay in a house, because we have a child as well, you wouldn't want to take a risk. So this is the time that we would kind of collect the belongings, collect the food, and basically load the van and go, even if you then just park in the lay-by further down or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But this is my whole thing. This is my prepping situation and prepping mentality slightly changes. As the conflict evolves, I kind of make different choices and different things to think, like, let's be prepared with that. Let's be prepared for a circumstance where we might have to go, but not like let's go and live in the forest, but let's go and have to move from the house because something happened to the house. So anyway, that was my moral of the story, guys. So the advice to you guys really is obviously don't panic. And it's like when you start reading the news, I always say this, just take it a little bit with a pinch of salt, read a few articles first, comprehend it yourself, but don't obviously panic too much, because a lot of the stuff that is happening, if the worst case scenario happens, we can do absolutely nothing about it. So, but what we can do, we can prepare for the other scenarios which might not be so severe, but at least we can be ready for it. So that's my advice, guys. Anyway, well, hopefully you kind of enjoy this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.